many times people tell you they love your script and they don't do anything with it. And I found that I forged stronger relationships with people who had criticisms of my writing or the story.
You say as a screenwriter, you learned to pitch in 2 sentences. How did you pitch Chasing 3000? What was your 2-sentence pitch?
This is a story set in 1972 about 2 brothers who take off across country in a race against time to see their hero, Roberto Clemente, get his 3,000th hit. And along the way, the brothers learn the importance of being brothers.
Okay. Did anyone ever tell you to shorten that? It's great, I love it, but did...
No, well, one producer, when I pitched one producer at a studio, it was Warner Brothers. He said, "Oh, so it's Rain Man with a baseball theme."
Okay.
Yeah, kinda. I never thought
guess,
of it.
yeah.
I guess, right? I never
Yeah.
thought of it that way. But it's
Right.
the elements are there,
Sure.
right? The one brother's disabled. Huh? It's kind of I guess he's right.
Okay.
Right, but so yeah, I don't know if I ever pitched it as like Aliens, Jaws in space, right? Those some of those classic pitches of 2 or 3 lines or words to pitch their screenplay, but yeah.
Why was this story worth fighting for?
I think it's because it's, as I said, it's important. It's a unique story. I can say without hesitation, my relationship with my brother was unique, and I don't know if you could find 2 other brothers like us. And because of that, growing up, and I felt we were interesting, and that let me tell you this, our story is so unique that a woman contacted me on Facebook, and she sent me a friend request, and she watched the movie with her husband, and she turned to her husband after the movie and she said, "I think these 2 boys lived across the street from my grandfather." And we did. She was only 6 years old, and she remembered us.
That's awesome.
I think that's pretty strong testimony.
Yeah.
That how unique we were. That a 6-year-old girl who's now an adult, that 50 years later,
Wow.
she said, "I think these boys lived across the street from my grandfather." And we did. That's how unique our story was. And that she remembers these 2 brothers, one in a wheelchair, the other boys. We were playing baseball in the neighborhood with other boys.
Wow,
And
that's
so
powerful.
yeah. And I guess I haven't spoken enough about how important my brother was, how unique and his life story, what he had to overcome. That is, he's just a remarkable person. And so the story is told from my perspective, right? From the perspective of the older brother. But really, I think when you're watching it, you see how remarkable, this young man's life is, this boy's life, in a wheelchair, having to overcome muscular dystrophy, and Steve was a remarkable person with remarkable talent, and so that's that would be my answer.
Do you have any crazy Hollywood pitching stories, not mentioning any names or companies, but maybe scenarios that you can tell us that might be good for any filmmakers who are pitching currently or will be?
Well, I don't know how if mine are any crazier than anyone else's. I mean, it's a crazy life, right? I mean, the life of a screenwriter is just in and of itself is a crazy life. But I guess I'm not sure I have any really unique story other than stories that I wouldn't let anyone discourage me. And I guess I would say that to any writer or filmmaker, no matter what your age, especially if you're young and you're starting out, do not allow anyone to discourage you. Whether you say it out loud or you say it in your head, just tell them you're either going to help me or you're going to get out of my way. And so I did, and I think the other thing is, I don't know if it's, again, I'm not sure it's unique, but listen, if you're a screenwriter, listen to the criticism that people have about your script. Because many times people tell you they love your script and they don't do anything with it. And I found that I forged stronger relationships with people who had criticisms of my writing or the story, because I believe they were seeing what was wrong with my story and how I could make it better. And so try not to get defensive, or I would not, and I tried not to defend my story. I would just listen to the criticism. And I think it's important because it's interesting. We interviewed, Ryan and I had to interview 6, 7, or 8 directors, and all of them loved the story and told me how great it was. And Greg came in; he was the last one we interviewed, and he told me what he didn't like about the story. And he told me what he thought how the story could be better. And the fact that he did that led me to believe that he was the one to direct. He was also a very good writer. I learned a lot from Greg writing, a lot. And so do not get discouraged, but also don't be put off by the criticism.
So if someone is praising it too much, or hey, love it, but I can't really do anything with it, but I love it, then they're blowing smoke?
Well, that's that's another good question. Yeah, in Hollywood, many times it is. It's just, because I would confuse me. Well, if you love my story, then why can't we do something with it? And sometimes people will love it, but they'll say, I don't do these kinds of stories, right? And sometimes there's a legitimate reason for this, or they'll say that the story's just not for them, but it's well written. But I found that someone who gave me an honest critique of the story, that I found that much more helpful in going back and doing a rewrite.
And from watching Argo, what similarities can you apply to what you went through with Chasing 3000?
Oh well, just my experience in Hollywood. How Hollywood is filled with people who love the dance. They love the dance of sitting down, taking a meeting. Let's talk about your script. I think you're a great screenwriter, and there's no commitment. They will not commit to, and that's very frustrating. They will not commit to your project. And I've also learned that a lot of independent producers, and this goes for any screenwriter, that they need you more than you need them.
And you said you can tell that
I can
within an instant.
I have this now innate ability, something about their mannerisms, something about their verbiage, something about how, you know, what they're saying to me, whether they can really get this movie made. I can tell it within minutes of meeting someone, whether they're for real or not.
You had said previously that when someone is pitching themselves too much to you, and I'm this and I'm
Yeah.
that's also a red flag.
Yeah, because they're telling me how, you know, what they're doing, but first of all, I don't know if you have a lot of movies in production now, and you know, what can you do for me? So, you know, you have to be wise enough, and that just comes with experience. Okay, and I am not the first screenwriter to ever get burned, and there's a lot of stories out there. It's just a tough profession, and you just have to learn to. It's really important to gravitate toward people you like, and who like you. You might say, "Oh, that's Bill. That's so simplistic," but it's truth. I think it's part of life. Is to stay in contact with people you like.
Sure. Well, also, you're living a different existence in Ohio than LA, I would imagine. Forgive me, I've only been in Ohio a few times, but it's going to be probably a different interaction with people. There's all kinds of reactions.
Yeah.
You know, some
Yeah.
super friendly, but then you're like, are they trying to sell me something? What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, it's
Some
just
not so friendly.
yeah, and it's just again, it's a different world that I've become familiar with, become part of, and so I know, like you know certain people that you might want to stay away from.
Did anyone ever jokingly say, Bill, you're becoming too Hollywood?
No,
Okay, that's good.
no, I was gonna be like for this interview, I was gonna dye my hair white like Billy Idol. You know.
Oh, nice. Okay,
You know,
right,
I just
right.
thought I'd really go Hollywood and
Couple necklaces.
yeah, just you really go. Yeah, I've often joked about that, but no, you know, it's interesting. Success has come pretty late in life for me, and so you know, had success come much earlier, maybe it does have it would have an impact. I don't know, but I just know that, you know, I was grounded a lot differently because I was older, and so I think in many ways it helped me through some of those experiences.